Hey everyone, it's me, that one kid on YouTube that doesn't have that many subscribers, yet people still watch their videos anyways because, I don't know, apparently their content has quality to them. Anyways, today I'm back with another stupid, crazy, and weird Thomas movie review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Big World Big Adventures. The movie, not the series, of course. So, last Tuesday on the 20th, Big World Big Adventures turned 3 years old. Well, it's been 3 years since it aired in the theaters in the UK, but it counts as its third year anniversary. And I wanted to make a review of it in honor of its third year anniversary. However, I couldn't because around that time I was still on vacation with my family. And, I could have done it, you know, when they were gone out of the hotel room, but I decided not to because, well, firstly, I only had two trains with me, and, well, I thought if I were back home, I have a lot more trains there, and I could do a lot more weird things with them. Never mind. I just wanted to wait till I got home to do the review. So, I'm of course back home now, and yeah, got all these trains with me. Oh, and that Charleston truck over there, and Topham. So, yeah, gonna be doing a review on Big World Big Adventures. So, Big World Big Adventures. It's a pretty controversial movie. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people are, I guess, okay with it. Some people like it, but very few people love the movie. So, some of you might be wondering, I I guess, some of you might be wondering, what's my personal opinion on Big World Big Adventures? Well, some people may already know what my opinion on Big World Big Adventures is. But for those who don't know, to cut to the chase, my opinion on Big World Big Adventures the movie is that it's a really awesome film. Yeah, I don't know that was much as sorry. I don't know if that was much as a surprise, considering that I like Misty Island Rescue, but Big World Big Adventures, I I really do love the film. I'm serious. I love it. Now, it's not my favorite Thomas movie, that would be The Adventure Begins, but it is my second favorite Thomas movie in the franchise. Yeah, I ranked it higher than Sawyer's Legend of Lost Treasure, which is in third place. I'm sorry. Now, I'll get to the reasons why I like Big World Big Adventures a lot. Um, Possibly by the end of the video. That is, if I don't have to split this into two parts, which I may have to due to the fact that Big World Big Adventures is the longest Thomas movie, not counting Magic Railroad, which is, well, of course, Magic Railroad was long because that was a theatrical movie, but whatever. So yeah, so firstly, before I get onto my opinions on the movie, gonna go over like the premise or plot or synopsis or whatever you want to call it of Big World Big Adventures. So yeah, let's start. So the movie begins with Thomas struggling to push tanker cars which have their brakes on. Then we have Pompous Gordon over here, of course, making fun of Thomas because he hates his guts, and that's when Thomas foreshadows the movie's plot of him going around the world, to which Gordon just laughs at, saying that Sodor is his world. So, meanwhile, after that scene, we get our title sequence, and that is when we get introduced to Ace, the Australian rally car. Now, I do not have a piece of Ace merchandise, unfortunately, so I'm going to be using Owen Wilson in his place. So, yeah. Ace encounters the Flying Scotsman, and after just like jumping onto the train tracks, he nearly collides into Sydney. However, he dodges him, and automatically everyone who like hates this movie hates Ace. As for me, I like Ace. Well, actually, I wouldn't say I like Ace. I think he's an alright character. He's not great, but he's not bad. So, he's alright. He has a good design, also. So, meanwhile, with Thomas, Topham sends Thomas to take fish cars to Vickerstown, but instead Thomas retaliates by hitching them up to Gordon's Express. And once Gordon gets to Vickerstown, Scotty points this out, and Gordon, understandably, gets mad and is ready to tear Thomas to pieces. Meanwhile, Thomas is on his branch line with Annie and Clarabelle, which I do not have at this moment, and they meet Ace, who tells them at Farquhar on how he's catching a ship on Sodor to get to Africa, which is where the first rally race is going to be held at. And there's also going to be one in Brazil, America, and China. I hope I didn't miss any. Yeah, so, and then Thomas talks about how he's always wanted to see the world, and that's when Ace convinces Thomas to, travel, to Africa with him, so he can be the first engine to go around the world. Despite the fact that Flying Scotsman has already traveled around the world himself, but, since Thomas and Friends isn't, entirely accurate to real-life events, especially in CGI, I'm guessing we're just supposed to suppose that Scotsman going around the world didn't happen in the TNF universe, which I'm fine about. Anyway, so, off screen, Carly lifts Thomas onto the ship going to Africa, and when everyone realizes, that Thomas is missing, they all of a sudden just start bursting into song, referencing, old events like Down the Mine, Thomas Comes to Breakfast, Misty Island Rescue, Journey Beyond Sodor, Hero of the Rails, etc. And then Emily tells Topham that Carly, loaded Thomas onto a ship to Africa, and that's when Topham gets the stupid idea to abandon his railway and find Thomas himself by going to Africa. So, yeah. And he also leaves Mr. Percival in charge off screen. So, yeah. Meanwhile, excuse me. I'm so sorry about that. Thomas and Ace get to Africa, in which Ace ditches him because the race is held where there's no, tracks or whatever he said. So yeah, Thomas is trying to get to Dar es Salaam, or whatever, and on his way, he keeps on, taking more and more cars that have to go to the, docks in Dar es Salaam, and on his way, he meets Nia, the character that everyone in the fandom hates. Okay, well, not everyone, but a majority of the fandom hates. As for me, I like Nia. I mean, why else would I have a wood model of her? I forgot what I was going to say there. Anyway, so, yeah, Nia volunteers to help Thomas, however, he refuses, until he gets stuck up on a hill, in which Nia decides to help Thomas, even though he still refuses her help, but she goes along with him anyways, just to, I don't know, anger him. And on her way to Dar es Salaam, which is, 5,000 miles away, she says, they start singing a Lion King song, and on the way, Thomas, goes from, fussy to happy, and he also nearly gets killed by an elephant. Yeah, that happens. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Topham finally reaches Africa, in which he tries to ask a bunch of people where Thomas is, knowing good and well that not everyone in Africa will speak English. Then he meets this dude who, decides to take him to Dar es Salaam by camel. And his topper also gets, eaten. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Thomas and Nia finally reach Dar es Salaam. And, Thomas can't find Ace. So, he just tries to go on whatever ship is going to Brazil and hopes to find Ace there somewhere or whatever. And Nia decides to go along with him, as she always had the dream of going around the world too. And Thomas isn't so happy about it. So, that night, while Nia's asleep, Ace turns out to be on the same ship as Thomas, and then he starts to he starts to tell Thomas about how he shouldn't have, like, Nia hold him back. And it's at this point when you start to realize that Ace is clearly the antagonist of the film. Not a villain, mind you. No, a villain in my eyes is someone who tries to, like, kill someone. AKA Diesel 10, Spencer, Diesel, etc. Ace, nah, he isn't a villain. I mean, he obviously causes conflict in the movie, which makes him the antagonist, but he doesn't have any, like, villainous or pretty bad intentions, per se. So, yeah. He's just a bad influence to Thomas, that's all. So, yeah. The three of them reach Brazil, in which Ace once again ditches Thomas to go to the next rally race, and in order to, like, fill up on, like, cold and water, Thomas volunteers to take a freight train, which is supposed to go to San Francisco in America. And on their way, the two of them catch up with Ace, who crashed during the race. And at this point in the movie, we encounter Ace's, like, fear of animals, which is later shown more of in a pretty bad Series 24 episode. So yeah, they take Ace along with them for the ride, and sometime later, Thomas runs out of water, and then Nia gets the genius idea to fill up on water by, filling up on the water that's coming from the rain, because they were in a rainforest. Yeah. So they fill up on water, and they're on the way again, and they also nearly die when crossing over a bridge. Yeah. And then we get on to the best song of the movie. It's Ace's song. It's cool. And there was also a deleted scene that involved something with Carlos. Yeah. Meanwhile, with Topham, I believe around this time, he finally gets to Dar es Salaam, in which, Kobe just, like, kidnaps him. I'm just kidding. He lifts him up with his hook like Carly did earlier on in the movie, and points out that he lifted Thomas onto a ship that was going to Brazil, in which Topham just, like, has to go to Brazil, and once he gets there, he encountered, a Diesel who was named Fernando in Series 23, and he tells him that, Thomas was taking a train to San Francisco, so Topham decides to head there by plane. Anyways, Thomas and Nia reach Africa, in which they encounter my spirit animal, Sam, which I was very surprised about. I wasn't expecting him appearing in a movie. I bet no one was. So, it was nice to see him, even though he said, like, one word in the movie. I'm still happy to see, like, one of my favorite characters in the show. Yes, it is because he's American and he's called Sam. Anyways, so, yeah, on our way to San Francisco, Ace gets the, mischievous idea to ditch Nia by convincing Thomas and Nia to have a race to San Francisco so they can deliver the coffee beans faster, in which, during the race, Ace has Thomas, turn on to a different track, ditching Nia. And while they're racing, some wacky antics go along. They go over this, like, they hit a rock, derail, and then go over this loop, Sonic the Hedgehog style. And then they encounter Bo, who does not get named in this movie. They crash into his cars, which roll back, bump into them, causing them to become a runaway. They go through a mine, hit a minecart, and then crash through this wall, and then they all derail. Yeah. That all happens in, like, the time span of, like, 3 minutes, I believe. Okay, yeah. So I'm almost at the 15-minute mark of this video, and for those of you guys who may know or may not know, I can only record up to 15 and a half minutes, so gonna have to split this into 2 parts, and I hope it's only 2 parts. So, yeah, I'll continue the rest of my review in part 2. See you in a bit.